Okay, welcome to my conversion tracking tutorial for Google Ads. By the end of this video, you should know how to track every single type of phone call that you need to track, every single type of contact form and text message and email and generated lead and everything that you need to possibly track, button clicks. So anything that we're able to track, we want to track into our Google Ads account. One of the biggest shifts with Google Ads and one of the biggest issues I see within campaigns that I'm auditing or consulting for is inaccurate conversion data, no conversion data, or I'm not sure what this conversion data is. The best thing you can possibly do for your campaign is make sure that the conversion actions that are actually tracking within your Google Ads account. So you can see right here for this campaign, 77 total costs that I've spent, 5 conversions, $15 per conversion. It's actually performing pretty well, surprisingly. I've only spent $77 on it, but basically what you want to do is make sure that you have good conversion data coming in. These are not leads that I'm actually replying to, but I have been able to get a few leads from this business, which kind of interesting. It makes me almost think I'd be able to expand this and scale this. But the way Google Ads works is basically you feed Google Ads really good conversion data. So if I'm driving a client, let's just say 100 really high quality leads every single month. They're a local service business. They do whatever they do. And let's just say they're looking for 100 leads a month. We're driving 100 leads a month. Over time, what you're able to do is a quick 30-second promotion. If you like my content, I have a Google Ads course available, 21 lessons over 10 hours for $34.99. You can access it by going to surfsideppc.com/course. That will give you all the information you need to run successful Google Ads campaigns. If you're interested in learning how to drive more leads for your business, join Surfside Inbound. It's $4.99 a month. It's available on Patreon. It's available through my YouTube membership, and you'll get access to all of my premium content, including a 5.5-hour inbound marketing course. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Make sure that your bidding strategy is designed to actually continuously drive more leads at a similar cost or even a lower cost. So over here in bidding, and enhanced CPC is something that is going to be deprecated. I just use that as an example for this campaign. But ultimately what you should be doing is using maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, or select them and set a target CPA, or select the maximize conversion value and set a target return on ad spend. I can't go over conversion tracking without going over the importance of doing that and making sure that your campaigns are all designed to drive conversions. So throughout this entire video tutorial, that's all I'm going to be going through. The other thing that is really important with some of the conversion tracking and some of the things you should be doing is you want to make sure that your conversion goals are always listed here for the campaign you're working on, so that you will actually optimize for those conversion goals. So you can see here I have campaign specific, so it's showing I'm optimizing for all these different phone call leads. You should only really have 3 here. I'll go over that in the video. And then all these different contact leads. In this case, generally, I just have a contact form, sometimes a live chat. You could do email clicks, you could do text message, and sometimes you may have something else. Like I have a Google Ads audit as an example. So sometimes you may have an additional conversion for some other service that you have. But usually when it comes to your conversion actions, there's like 3 main phone call conversion actions. And then when it comes to your leads, I'm generally just focused on a lead form or a live chat or both, or if the client is using it, text messaging, email clicks, different things like that. Basically anything where an actual contact takes place and where my client gets access to the user data they need to turn them into a customer. So that's ultimately what a conversion goal is. Obviously for other types of businesses, it's going to be sales. It's going to be things where people actually pull out their credit card and purchase something from you or sign up for your tool. So those are the different types of conversion goals. And you always want to make sure your campaign is optimizing for those conversion goals, and that the bidding strategy that you're using is set up to optimize for those as well. So smart bidding is definitely something you want to do. That is one of the 4 conversion or bidding strategies I went over: maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, target CPA, or target ROAS, return on ad spend. So that is one of the most important things as we get started, because I've taken over accounts where new conversion goals were created. They were counting in the goals here in the summary page, but the campaign was not actually optimizing for them. So within your conversion goals page here, one of the things I want to go over is you're going to see all conversions, all conversion values. So you can actually value conversions differently. And sometimes I will value phone calls as 2, so basically $2, and a form as $1, because most of my clients that I'm working with prefer phone calls because they are easy to convert. People will fill out forms all day. A phone call is really personal, and it makes it much easier to turn that person into a customer. So you definitely want to be doing that when it comes to phone calls. And the other thing that I want to go over really quickly as well is when you are creating a new conversion action, you can do website conversions, you can do app conversions, phone call conversions, and import data from another source. If you are using a third-party software, so CRMs, files, other data sources, track conversion from clicks, connect a new data source, you will see Google has a ton of products that it automatically integrates with. You should always check on this first. I always check these first because if you have this data already able to be integrated directly into your Google Ads account, if you have a Salesforce account with a ton of conversion data already in it, take all of that and import it directly into Google Ads and make sure that that data source is constantly connected so you can optimize for those conversions consistently. Google Analytics 4 properties, you can actually import conversions from app, so Firebase or web. When we click on web here, you can see this is the default purchase conversion action, came with my property. It's not something I created, but we can import this and optimize for any of the key events that we've already set up in Google Analytics 4. I will go over how to set up events and key events throughout this video. So those are some really important things I want to go over as we get started. My favorite way to track conversions is with Google Tag Manager. I know I have Google Analytics 4 open there, but basically using Google Tag Manager, making sure it is installed on our website, clicking on new tag here, tag configuration, Google Ads, and Google Ads conversion tracking, or Google Ads calls from website conversion. Those are going to be the main ones that I am generally setting up. Google Ads conversion tracking, you enter your conversion ID, conversion label. You can enter a value here. I generally set the value in Google Ads. And then all you need to do is set a trigger. You can see all these different triggers that I've set up already. So page URL contains thank you, basically contact form thank you page. That could be a trigger. We line it up with a conversion inside of our account. And you can see if we come over here, that is actually our contact form example right here. So it is tracking as well. So you can see that is how we can set up those conversions. Basically, here is the conversion tracking tag. Here is when we want you to count it. So this is my favorite way to track conversions, and I will go over Tag Manager throughout this entire video. The very last thing I want to go through is variables right here. Actually, there's gonna be one more thing after this. Variables, when you set up Google Tag Manager, when you click on configure, you may only have these initial 5, but if we scroll down here, you definitely want to track these different clicks, these different form elements. You can add pretty much all of these if you want, because all it does is give you more variables that you can use to track things that are happening on your website. So wanted to go over all of that as we got started here. We can click on submit. I don't know if we made any changes. As you make changes in Tag Manager, click on submit. Use the preview tool, which I use a lot throughout this video, so it'll make a lot more sense as we go through this entire video, but use the preview tool to make sure that all of your conversions are firing properly. Last but not least is enhanced conversions. So through your conversions and settings page here, one of the things you want to do is make sure that you have enhanced conversions for lead setup. I have it set up with the Google Tag. I have the Google Tag installed on my website. So you can do it with the Google Tag or Google Tag Manager. There's plenty of really easy guides to follow along with this, but basically what Google is doing, it is able to measure leads on your website that converted offline using submitted lead form user data. So you're able to get a little bit more information about where your conversions are coming from, and you're able to basically get more information from user provided data to make sure that Google can track every single conversion on your website back to Google Ads. Basically just gives Google Ads more conversion data, and that's ultimately the goal we want here. So enhanced conversion for leads is definitely something you want to accept the policies and then manage it either through the Google Tag or through. I want to take a quick break from my video tutorial to tell you about my 2 free training videos. My first is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Google Ads training. That will give you a process to be successful with Google Ads. Go to surfsideppc.com/training to get access to that. The other one is going to be my from 0 to 5K per month roadmap. This is going to be an inbound marketing training that's going to teach you how to drive more leads and grow your business. So you go to surfsideinbound.com and you can access that one. Let's get back to our tutorial. Google Tag Manager, you'll see right here, enhanced conversions. I have mine set up through Google Tag, save, and it's saying my enhanced conversions are tracking properly. So you definitely want to make sure that you are doing that. The other thing is the call conversion action is I would set up either calls from ads, or if you create your own call asset conversion, which I did here, and make sure that that call conversion action is set up here properly. So we will go through this entire video, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to have your conversion tracking set up. This is something I charge clients hundreds of dollars to set up. So because it's not always the easiest thing, and depending on the client I'm working with, sometimes this can take an hour or two to set everything up and get access to everything. So it's not an easy process. But basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we have all of our conversion data accurate within our campaigns. If you are really struggling with this, go to surfsideppc.com/services and contact me, and I may be able to help you out with conversion tracking. Obviously, it would be a charged service. Or if you're interested in anything related to campaign management, an audit, consulting, anything like that, just go to surfsideppc.com/services and you can contact me there, and I will get back to you as soon as possible, and we can get something set up in case you are having any trouble with conversion tracking or just looking for more information about best practices. With all of that being said, let us get into Google Ads conversion tracking, my complete tutorial. A Google Ads conversion and how we can actually do that using Google Tag Manager. So to get started, obviously you need a contact form on your website. And the point of this video is to basically give you an all-in-one solution. So regardless of how your contact form performs, you should be able to track it using this. So there are different ways to actually track a contact form. And one of the easiest ways is when you set up Google Analytics 4 sometimes and you have a form submit event, that will automatically track when a form is submitted on your website. I'm not going to be going through that specifically in this video today. I'm going to be going over how to use Google Tag Manager to understand what your form actually does when you submit it so that you can actually track it. Now, my favorite method to track a contact form is to use the thank you page. So a thank you page redirect, when somebody fills out the entire contact form, clicks on send message, they go directly to a standalone thank you page on your website that nobody would ever find unless they actually filled out your contact form. So if you actually take your form and you set it up to redirect to a thank you page, that is the easiest way to track it. Let's just assume you can't do that with your form. Let's just assume you are working for a client and you don't have the ability to do that with a form. I'm going to get started first by showing you how to use Google Tag Manager to actually track what the form does when you submit it. So if we get started here, the very first thing you need to do is install Google Tag Manager on your website. So when you have Google Tag Manager, go to install Google Tag Manager from the admin tab if you haven't installed it already, or create your Tag Manager account. It's completely free to create and use. So you need to put these two pieces of code on your website. And if we come to the back end of my WordPress website, you can see I have WP code here. So we have our Google Tag Manager here, and we want to take this piece of code and paste it as high as possible underneath the opening header tag. And then we want to take the second piece of code and paste it in the next box. So the body. Underneath the opening body tag here. So you can see right here, we have header and we have body, and you want to put those two tags here, click on save changes, and then you have Google Tag Manager installed on your website. So that's the very first step to get started. Now we're also going to have to create a Google Ads conversion and then use that to actually set up our conversion. But before we do that, let's actually see what our contact form does when we submit it. So my contact form right now, if we come over to my form page, I am using Forminator for this contact form. There are plenty of contact form solutions. So obviously I've worked with different clients who use different contact form solutions, use different website CMSs and all sorts of different things. So not every form is going to be the same, but this form is set up right now that when it is filled out, we can do, and we look over here at behavior. When somebody does fill it out and click on submit, the behavior is in line. Thank you for contacting us. We'll be in touch shortly. When we look at some of the behaviors that we can do, this is my favorite one to do, is redirect URL to send people directly to a thank you page. I will show you how to do this after we do this first part. Right now I have it set to an inline message. So that means the form is not redirecting when somebody fills it out. So if we come over to our contact form, what we want to do is we want to take this page, copy it, go over to Google Tag Manager, go to your workspace, and then you want to click on preview, enter that URL, and then open the Google Tag site. So everything that's happening on this page on my website, Google Tag Manager is tracking over here on the left-hand side. So even if I just come over here to the form and I click right here, we just click on the first name part of the form and we look over here, you're going to see a click. So that is going to be the very first thing I want to show you, is every single thing that you do when you are using Google Tag Assistant is going to be tracked. So if you look over here at variables, there are a ton of different variables in here that you can track, and you can actually set up these as a conversion. Like you could set up pretty much anything as a conversion in Google Ads, or you can actually track it in Google Analytics 4 if you wanted to. Now there are automatic events in Google Analytics 4, form start and form submit. They don't track for every single form type, but generally if you have a form on your website, like if you do have this form on your website, that will track. I will create a separate video for how to do that, but I just wanted to go over that first. But if we come over here and we are coming back to our Google Tag Assistant, we come to the page here and I'm going to fill out this form, and then I'm going to click on send message. Okay, and you see I filled out first name, email, phone number, message, and we want to click on send message. Now coming over here, you can see click, click, click. Now the method I'm going to show you is not my favorite method to use. My favorite method to use is the redirect, which I already said, but this is not my favorite method to use. I would much prefer to use the form submit if you do have a form like this. This form is not going to register that event in Google Tag Manager. So when we click on send message, what's going to happen is it's submitting. And then you're going to see, thank you for contacting us. We'll be in touch shortly. The page doesn't redirect. It all just stays right here. And you're like, how do I track this page? Well, in Google Tag Assistant, they will actually give you a bunch of variables that we can track. And there are a couple different things that we can track here. And one of the ones that we can track here is the click classes. You're going to see has formatter button submit. So this is something that we can track right here. Over here with click, you could see formatter show, formatter success. But this isn't actually something that we can track because this tracked when I actually clicked on that. So I clicked on the text, thank you for contacting us. We'll be in touch shortly. Not everyone is going to be clicking on that. So we are going to come over here to the 11th click. And I think it's the 11th click. No, it's the 10th click. So on the 10th click, we clicked on the text send message here. So that is going to be the one that we actually clicked on. And there's going to be a form class here, formatter button submit. So if we come over here and we look at all these variables, these are what we can actually track. Now, the one thing that could potentially happen with a form like this is somebody clicks on submit and that click happens, but there's an error with the form and it's never submitted. So that could potentially be an issue. The way this form is set up, and you can see this right here, if I click on send message and this doesn't actually send anything, it will still track that as a conversion. So that's why this is not my preferred method, but this is kind of a workaround that you can use. So if we come over here we exit out of Google Tag Assistant for now, we come back over to Google Tag Manager. What we need to do is we need to create a new tag in Tag Manager. Before we do that, go to variables and make sure that you have some of these different variables enabled. So go to configure and you want to make sure you have these click variables enabled and you want to make sure you have these form variables enabled as well. Now you can do every single variable here. There's no downside really to doing more variables. It just happens to give you more information and everything like that. For this purpose, what I need this for, forms, clicks are what we want to track right now. So over here, you can see all the different tags that I've created. So the very first thing, before we even create our tags, let's come over to Google Ads and let's create our conversion action. So this is going to be our contact form conversion action. I'll give you a couple different ways that we can track this to make it a lot easier. So let's start. It is a website conversion. We enter our website here, click on scan, and then it's going to say this website domain is linked to a Google Analytics account. We can do that, but we're just going to add a conversion action manually. And you're going to see select category for this. So this is going to be contact. We will say contact form example. Let's set a value of just 1 for every conversion. So every conversion that comes in, we're going to count as $1. So you can always increase this value if you want to value the conversion higher. Obviously, it's a lead, so I'm just counting it as 1 lead every time it comes in. For the count, we want to set this to 1. So for leads, you always want to set this to 1. Click through conversion window, so 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You can make this longer, especially if it's like B2B, because the contacts lead time is generally a little bit longer. Engage view conversion window. So generally I'll just keep these as is. So attribution will be data driven, enhanced conversions managed through the Google tag. We'll click on done. And now we can click on save and continue. We have our conversion goal here. We are ready to set this up using Google Tag Manager. They're going to give us our instructions. So we're going to click on use Google Tag Manager, conversion ID, contact form example. This is our conversion label. So let's come over to Tag Manager, the other thing down here. Make sure you add a conversion linker and configure it to fire on all your web pages. So you want to make sure you do that. Let's close this page. You want to make sure you do that first. You can see my conversion linker right here. So when you click on new tag configuration, you're going to click on Google Ads, and then you're going to click on the conversion linker tag, and under triggering, you're going to do all pages. So that's all you're going to need to do. Name your tag, save it, and that's how easy it is to set up the conversion linker tag. You could discard this for now. You can see mine set up here, conversion linker, all pages. So very easy to set that one up. Next is going to be tracking the form submission. So we're going to set up a new conversion action. So we come over here to new, and the tag, we're going to do contact form example. You could also name this Google Ads conversion, whatever you want to name it. Come over to tag configuration, Google Ads conversion tracking. And what we want to do is we want to take our conversion ID and the conversion label that they gave us over here. So we have our ID and our conversion label down here, and we paste both of those. Okay, so now we need to set a trigger. So the trigger that we are going to use for right now, we are just going to click on all pages. So we're going to click on save. But the trigger that we are actually going to use is when we did open up Google Tag Assistant and set our form, what we did, and we could just click on send message here because that's all we're tracking basically. So we come over here to Tag Assistant, we look at the click. So within this click, you can see the tags and then the variables. Now I set up a tag as an example. This already tracked. I'll show you exactly how I did that. So within the variables here, you're going to see GTM click. Triggers is going to be 2,3. We have our URL. We have the click class here, send message. Now there's nothing here, at least that I saw, that shows any type of error with this form. So if you're working with a client and you're like, I need to track this form, but I don't know how to. Thank you for watching. If you want access to all of my long form tutorials and some of my courses that I've created that I'm only putting out on Surfside Inbound, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/SurfsideInbound. It is only $4.99 per month. You can also join through my YouTube channel. So through the Surfside PPC YouTube channel, from any of my videos, if you click on join, you will get instant access to all of my premium content, including my inbound marketing course, which is 5.5 hours long. I just published it to Patreon and YouTube. So join today if you're interested in more of my content at patreon.com/SurfsideInbound or by clicking the join button on any of my YouTube videos. Thanks for watching my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. To do this in an easy way, the client isn't going to be able to let you change it to a thank you page or something like that. You can come in here and you can see form classes is a data layer variable, and you could see the string is Forminator button and Forminator button submit. So we could take this right here, Forminator button submit, and we can just copy that form class, come back over to Google Tag Manager, and you can see I actually did this in one of my conversions over here. So within email clicks example, you can see within this trigger that we have the form classes, and we just did contains Forminator button submit. So that's tracking every time somebody clicks on that send message button. Now, the way this could potentially work is if somebody, we have it set to 1 conversion in Google Ads. So if somebody clicks this, let's just say the form doesn't submit and they didn't enter their email address correctly, they didn't enter their name correctly, whatever it might be, whatever error message they got, what we can do is basically if they do fix that error and click on send message, the way we have it tracked in Google Ads is to only track 1 conversion. So theoretically, people aren't going to come in here and click on this button unless they're actually trying to send us a message. So what we can do is just take that form class contains Forminator button submit for click all elements. And that's all we need to do to set up this new conversion action that we have. So this is our contact form example. We did our conversion ID, our conversion label, a Google Ads conversion tracking tag, and then our trigger down here. Obviously, we don't want this to trigger on all pages. That will count it as a conversion every single time. Within the trigger, you click on the plus sign up here at the top, set your trigger configuration, and you're going to do click, and you're going to do all elements. Now, if we click this and we come in, we're going to do some clicks, and we could do when the form classes contains Forminator button submit, and we'll name this our, okay, so contact form button clicked, click on save. So that is one way that we can do this. The other way to do this, and if we come back over here one more time and we look at the variables here, is the other way is the click text on the button is send message. So that's another one that you can set, and you can also set both of them. So you could basically say, okay, if somebody's clicking on, so you could either have this one, you could have the click text. So that is the actual text on the button contains send message. This will also track properly. You can remove one of these. Both of these conditions have to be true for this to count as a conversion. Since that is what's going to happen every time somebody fills out our contact form, we can set it up like this. The only reason why I'm not a huge fan of doing that is if somebody goes in and changes the send message to, I don't know, contact us now or whatever it might be, schedule an appointment, then it's no longer tracking that. So I prefer to use the actual button submit because then it takes away that extra variable. We can click on save here. We click on save again, and now we submit this and we say version name new, and we'll say another version name new, and we'll publish this. Okay, so now we have this submitted. Let's open up our preview one more time for our contact page. Let's close these other ones. Okay, we're back in here one final time. Let's fill out our form again. Okay, we got our form all filled out, and we can come over here. You can see we have all these different clicks that are starting to register, but nothing has registered yet as far as the tags that have fired. So when we do this, we should have 2 tags firing, the email clicks example that I set, and then the new one that we did, the contact form example. So let's click on send message, and there we go. Thank you for contacting us. We will be in touch shortly. If we go over to the 12, you can see the 2 different tags that fired. So we know that our conversion tracking is working. Obviously, this isn't a perfect setup because there is the scenario where somebody somebody clicks on the button and doesn't actually fill out the form. But that's something that you just kind of deal with if you're running Google Ads. If you see an excess of conversions coming in and you're not seeing the actual form submissions, well, then you know you need to change the setup and how you have this actually working. But in my years of experience, I've never really seen that happening. Let's exit both of these and let's come back over here one more time to our form. This is the much easier way to actually track this conversion. So the whole process of setting up your conversion ID, conversion label, you don't have to do any of that again. Really, the different ways to track your conversion is once you have it set up the way that we just did, so we have the contact form example here, is just updating the trigger down here at the bottom. So basically, what is the form doing that will allow us to track it? So let's come back over to our website, the back end of our website one more time. If we click here, edit behavior, we do redirect user to a URL, we redirect them to a thank you page, click on apply, update our form. Okay, so we have that updated now. So we come over to our page. Let's make sure we refresh our page. So after submission, thank you. Let's just double check that this is completely updated. Okay, so we should be all good to go here now. I like to check it one final time when we go in just to make sure. So we'll click on edit here and we will see behavior. So you could do this with pretty much any form plugin as well. So there we go. After submission, not inline. Yeah, redirect user to a, okay. Let's change our label again. And we're gonna save it one more time, update, refresh the page. Okay, so now when we fill out this form, you saw it's going to immediately go to a thank you page. So what we want to do now is in Google Tag Manager, this is why I like using the thank you page, is if there are errors on that form, people will never find that thank you page. It's very rare someone's going to click on one of your Google ads and go to your thank you page without filling out the form first. It's just not something that happens. So this is why it's my preferred method, is using some type of confirmation page like this. So if we come over here, it's also very easy to track. If we come over here, what we can do is instead of having contact form button or Forminator button submit as our trigger, we're going to click here. We're going to do page view. We're going to do some page views when the page URL contains, and you could just do thank you, just like this. Okay, so now we have page URL contains thank you. That is going to be our trigger. Now, obviously, what you want to do is contact form thank you page, update your trigger so it's actually named correctly. So click on save. You don't need to do that. The names are just for you. In our contact form example, we have our conversion ID and our conversion label that we had over here. And then now our trigger has just changed to a contact form thank you page. Click on X over here, click on X again. Okay, so we should, yep, we got this all set up. Now let's do our new version here, click on publish, and we are going to preview this one more time using the Google Tag Assistant. Okay, we fill out our entire form here, and you can see over here, it's still tracking everything that we had. And then we click on send message, and now we redirect to a thank you page. This is another reason why I like to do it. Tell people to call or text you. It just gives them another way to contact you, especially if you're like a local service company. Then people fill out your contact form. You could say, why don't you just give us a call real quick? We'll get you booked. That's the preferred conversion, is the phone call. But you'll see over here, now we have this click. We have this click, so that's just me clicking on things. We have this contact Aqua Bliss Care. So this is the one that we just did. The tags that fired when we did this, you can see conversion linker, desktop phone calls, that tracks on every page, but only counts when it's a 60-second phone call. Google Analytics 4 tag, our email clicks example tracked because we clicked on that button. The desktop phone call example 1 is the same as this one. So 11 tags did not fire. So basically, if you come over here, you see no tags fired, container loaded, and there we go. Now we have our Google Ads conversion for a thank you page, and that is one that I set up. Here is the one that we actually did, contact form example. So making it a lot easier with the contact form example and knowing that somebody actually is filled out that form because they went to the thank you page. So that is the main reason why I like using the thank you page as a conversion. And now we come over here, click on done, and now we are tracking our contact form as a conversion. It is the contact form example one here. I have way too many conversions set up, just doing a lot of tutorials, but within that contact form example, you just want to double check that your actual campaign itself within the campaign settings is set up to actually optimize for that conversion. So we come over here to settings one more time. And then we come over here to our conversion goals. You'll see contacts is one of them. Contact form example. Since it's showing green, it's showing that this is tracking properly because they were able to see that it tracked correctly in the Google Tag Assistant. So if you have any questions about tracking a contact form and how to do it, please leave them in the comment section. This should allow you to track pretty much any contact form on a website. The easiest way to do it is just set it up to redirect, create a thank you page, put a button on the thank you page to tell people to call you directly or promote something. It's a lot better to use a thank you page, in my opinion, and also know that your form is actually submitted. So thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a quick video showing you how to track a thank you page as a conversion in Google Ads. So let's just say I'm offering a free Google Ads audit and I'm sending traffic to this page through Google Ads, and I want to track every time someone fills out this form. The very first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that your form, and I am using WP Forms here, is set up with a confirmation that goes to a URL and redirects somebody to a URL when they fill out the form. That's the very first step you want to take if you want to track a thank you page. You can use the same thing, whether it's order confirmation, any type of URL that you want to track when somebody visits it will work using this method. So coming over here to our contact form, I'm going to fill this out very quickly. Okay, so somebody fills out their information. We scroll down, they click on submit, and now they automatically go to this thank you page that I have set up. So now let's track that as a conversion in Google Ads. Now, as we come over here to Google Ads, I have my account open. Where you want to go first is to goals, and you want to go to conversions and summary. So within here is where we want to create our conversion action. And the way that I'm going to track this today is using Google Tag Manager. So I've opened up my Google Tag Manager account for Surfside PPC as well. Now, if you see Google Tag Manager here, that means we need to install Google Tag Manager on our website. So what I'm going to do is come over here to admin. Within here, we need to do install Google Tag Manager. If you don't have this account already, then create a free Google Tag Manager account. And these are the two pieces of code that we need to place on our website. So one as high as possible underneath the opening head tag, one immediately after the opening body tag. So we're going to come back over to a plugin that will allow us to do this. So this may vary depending on the website platform you're using. I would say the majority of people are using WordPress. So if we're in WordPress, you want to go to plugins and you want to go to add new plugin. And from there, you want to search WP Code and you want to install the WP Code plugin. So I already have that installed here. And on the left-hand side, it is going to come up as code snippets. So we're going to go to code snippets and we're going to go to header and footer. Okay, so this is what that looks like. I just removed these codes. So we're going to come back over and copy this, come back over to our website here and paste this one. You want to do it at the very top of the header here. So you want this to be the first piece of code that you put here. Come back over to Google Tag Manager, copy the next piece of code, come back over, and this one goes right underneath the opening body tag. And we click on Save Changes. And now we have settings saved. So now we have Google Tag Manager installed on our website. So the next step is setting up our conversion action in Google Ads. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to create a new conversion action, a website conversion. We can enter our website domain here now, and I'm going to click on scan. So they're going to have something that looks like this. We're going to skip that, and we're going to do create conversion actions manually using code, add the conversion action manually. And now we're going to set a goal and action optimization. So in this case, it would be something like a contacts. Generally, I'll use contact for this or submit lead form. Those are generally going to be the ones that we use. So for this, I'll just use contact. Conversion action optimization options. You want it to be a primary action that we're using for our bidding. Next is going to be conversion name. So I will say, now since we're just using a standalone thank you page, I could just name it thank you page, but I'm just going to name it Google Ads Audit Thank You Page. Scroll down, we're going to use the same value for each conversion. Now, if you have multiple conversions and this is more valuable than another conversion, you could always increase this value to basically say, this conversion is worth 2x what another conversion would be worth. Every other conversion is worth 1x. So I do that a lot with phone call conversions because they generally convert better. So we're going to use the same value for each conversion and just set it as 1. So it's just going to count every conversion as 1. For the count, we only want to do 1. So when you're driving leads, you only want to do 1 conversion. Generally, I will make my click-through conversion window as long as possible, my engage view as long as possible, and I will make my view through conversion window as long as possible. I don't know that it makes a huge difference, but figure it can't hurt to have as much data as we possibly can. Attribution will be data driven. Enhanced conversions we have managed through the Google tag, and we're going to click on done. And now we can scroll down here, click on save and continue. And now we need our instructions and we're going to finish setting this up. So we're going to use Google Tag Manager. The one thing we need to do is make sure we have the conversion linker tag added. I'm not sure if I do yet, so we're going to copy this conversion ID, come back over to Tag Manager, go to our tags. So I don't have conversion. I do have the Google Ads conversion linker tag here. So to set that up, you go to New, Tag Configuration, Google Ads, Conversion Linker, and all you need to do is name that tag. I generally just name it Conversion Linker, and then do all pages, click on Save and Submit. So that's exactly how you set up the Conversion Linker. You can name it whatever you want, but Conversion Linker on all pages. Next, we're going to set up New, and we're going to say thank you page. We could do Google Ads Audit thank you page just so we have consistent naming, even though that looks like just a thank you page for everything. But Google Ads Audit thank you page, we're going to go Google Ads. We're going to do conversion tracking. And now we need to take that conversion ID that we had in the first step, coming over here, copying that, and we're going to paste it right here. Okay, so we have our conversion ID. Next is going to be our conversion label. So that's going to be right here at the bottom. If you set up multiple conversions at a time, which you can do in the previous step, you can see all your labels there. Your conversion ID is always going to be the same for your account. So conversion label here, Google Ads Audit thank you page, and we want to trigger this. We want to click on the plus sign here, click on the trigger configuration, and we're going to do page view, some page views when the page URL contains thank you. Okay, so basically this is just looking at any page URL that somebody visits on our website that contains thank you. Okay, and now we're going to submit this. You can name it whatever you want. If you're working with people, you generally want to do a good version name and description. I'm the only one working on my Google Tag Manager account, so I just put new and new. Probably they all look like that. Okay, so now we have this all added. So now we can test this. We're going to come back over to our workspace and we are going to click on preview and we're going to enter our website URL with thank you on it. So we could just come right over to our page here, the thank you page. We're going to copy this page, come back over to Google Tag Manager, click on preview. Okay, so we're debugging our thank you page specifically, Tag Assistant connected. We go to the thank you page. If we come back over here, what you're going to see if we scroll down, so Google Ads form, I've already set this up with a different name apparently, but you'll see Google Ads Audit thank you page. This was a tag that fired, but that only counts if somebody actually calls our number and is on the phone for 60 seconds or longer. The Google Ads conversion linker tag fired, Google Analytics 4 tag fired, our Fiverr gig click, which is another one I made in a different video, and mobile clicks to call did not fire. Just an example of how to track a thank you page in Google Ads. And then when you are setting up your campaign, so we click on done here. Within your campaign, this is going to be, we have it under a contact conversion along with all these other conversions. So you just want to make sure within your campaign, so you're optimizing for this new conversion and you come over here, we click on this little gear icon. And then what we can do is make sure our marketing objective is leads. And for conversion goals, you just want to make sure that that conversion is one of the ones that we're optimizing for. So Google Ads Audit thank you page, you could see no recent conversions. The reason it says that is because it just tracked it through Google Tag Manager. So we set this up properly. We're optimizing our campaign now for anytime somebody fills out that form on our Google Ads Audit page. So that is exactly how to set up conversion tracking for a thank you page in Google Ads. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how to track a button click as a conversion into Google Ads. So it will allow you to track any button click. I'm going to show you exactly how to figure out how to track this. So it may vary depending on your website. So I'm going to go over the Google Tag Assistant and how we can actually see what the different variables are when we do click a button on our website. So I just set up this button very simply. It is through, I have Elementor installed. So I have the button here. The text on the button is track this button. As you can see, I have no icon. And then I just set the link for right now as basically nothing. So the button is linked, but it just stays on this page just so we can kind of see that it does something when we actually click on the button. Obviously, you can use this for like an outbound link or if you're trying to get somebody to a specific landing page or something like that that's more valuable on your website. So the very first thing you need to do, obviously, is to actually have your button live on your website like this one. So we have our button here. And then what we want to do is we want to come over to Google Tag Manager and you want to make sure Google Tag Manager is installed on your website. So go to the admin section of Google Tag Manager. If you haven't created a Tag Manager account already, then you want to set this up now. And then you want to install Google Tag Manager and put these two pieces of code on your website. The first one goes as high as possible under the opening head tag. The second one goes immediately after the opening body tag. So you can see the two pieces of code that we have here. And if we come to the back end of my website, The way that I generally do this is with the WP Code plugin. So it says code snippets on the left-hand side, but the plugin itself is WP Code. So if you go to the plugin store, add new plugin, search WP Code, see this blue logo there, and just install this. This has been the easiest way for me to install Google Tag Manager and also install any custom code snippets that I need to. So on the code snippets on the left-hand side, we click on header and footer, and that is going to open up our header and our footer here, which I did have these installed on both, but we'll make sure we installed it on both. So we have our, oh, there it is. So within our header, we have our first piece of code, and then under the body tag. So this is immediately after the opening body tag. This is exactly where you want to install Google Tag Manager. So click on Save Changes once you add both of these pieces of code to your website. So you can copy these here and then add each of them to your website. Make sure you click on Save Changes and make sure you put them in the right spot using the WP Code plugin. And then from there, you have Google Tag Manager installed on your website. So now we are ready to create our conversion action and make sure that we're tracking this button properly. So let's come over to Google Ads, and we're in our Google Ads account here, and we want to come over to Goals, Conversion, and Summary. And from this page, what we want to do is create a new conversion action. You can see I have a bunch of conversion actions in here just from the tutorials I'm creating. We'll delete a lot of them, but let's start tracking our conversions here. And what we want to track is a website conversion. And we can enter our domain name here. So you can enter whatever if you want, but we're going to enter our domain name, click on scan. But what we really want to do is add a conversion action manually. So they'll say it's a link to Google Analytics. You can use Google Analytics. I'll show that in follow-up videos. I'll also have a very long conversion tracking tutorial coming out, but we just want to add a conversion action manually here. Select a goal for the conversion action, and this is where you want to select the correct goal. So page view other, it could be an outbound click. Maybe it is something with get directions. Maybe it's a directions button. Request quote, that is a popular one where somebody's requesting a quote. So let's just pretend we have a button on our website and somebody actually clicks on this and they go to our quote request page, and I just want to track that as a conversion. Now this could be considered a pre-conversion, and this is something I will set up from time to time, especially in new accounts, because really you're trying to get some type of conversion data in. So if somebody goes to your website and clicks on contact us or book an appointment or request a quote, then they're at least showing some type of intent to complete a conversion with you. Even if they don't get to the next step, it is still a pre-conversion. So that's a lot of times how I'll use something like this, tracking a button click. So let's come back over here to Google Ads, and we're just going to do quote request. We'll say this is a primary action used for bidding optimization. Okay, and then we will use the same value for each conversion, just count it as 1. So I'm just going to count it as a $1 conversion every time it tracks. You could enter a higher value here if you want to set a different value for this conversion. For count, you definitely only want to do 1 for button clicks, because if somebody clicks on like 20 buttons, unless every single button click is valuable, which I would assume it's not, you really just want to count it as 1, because if it's the same person clicking buttons, then you don't want to count it as multiple conversions. The click-through conversion window, we can extend this if we want. It's automatically set at 30 days. Basically, it just widens the conversion window of how long it tracks. Engage view, view through, we'll just leave these as is. Attribution, data driven, and then enhanced conversions, you want to be managed through the Google tag, and then we can click on done. And now we can click on save and continue. So through save and continue, it's going to say set up with a Google tag. Probably create a tutorial just showing how to do that, just so people who are using a Google tag can do that. Otherwise, using Google Tag Manager is what we want to select here. So we just installed Google Tag Manager, and now we have our conversion ID and our conversion label down here. So we come over to Google Tag Manager, click on the X here, go to Workspace, and we want to create a new tag. The very first tag you need to add is the conversion linker tag. So if you come over here to Google Ads, you'll see next steps. Make sure you add a conversion linker tag and configure it to fire on all of your web pages. So usually the Google Tag Manager will tell you that if you don't have the conversion linker tag and you set up a Google Ads conversion tag. But if we click on new here and we go to tag configuration, click on Google Ads and click on conversion linker, and then just trigger this for all pages. So conversion linker on all pages. We don't need this since we already have it there. You can see I have it set up. So basically just add a new tag. So you can do that right at the top here, or if you are in your overview, you can also add a new tag by clicking here. So the next thing that we want to do, and you want to make sure you do this, is make sure you have all your variables enabled. I think there's a couple videos I created where I didn't say this, but if we click on configure here, make sure you have these click and forms all enabled. So that will allow us to actually see a little bit more data within our variables and make sure that we can use those variables when we're actually tracking this conversion. So we have all of those set here as well. So let's come over here to our tags and we want to create our new tag. So we are going to do button click example. We're going to do tag configuration. And now this is where you enter your conversion ID and your conversion label. So what we got previously here, our conversion ID from Google Ads. Come over to Google Tag Manager, paste that conversion ID there, come back to Google Ads, copy this one, come over here and paste that conversion label. So now we have conversion ID, conversion label, time to set our trigger. So you can see I have a few different triggers set up here already, but if we click on the X and actually we want to stay in here, we click on the plus sign here, we want to create a new trigger. So we click here on trigger configuration and you're going to see click. And this is either going to say all elements or just links. So if we click on all elements here, we could do some clicks. And this is basically how we're going to track this. Before we do this, what I want to show you is your button may track slightly different. So let's just trigger this on all pages for right now. We're not going to submit our container yet. Just need to set a trigger for that. You do not want to make sure you're setting that. Otherwise, it's going to count as a conversion for every single page view. But what we want to do is we want to open up the Google Tag Assistant. So the preview button up here will open up the Tag Assistant and basically just copy the URL. So I'm going to copy this pool liner replacement page that I have here. Copy that. We're going to click open up that page and it's going to keep this page open as the Google Tag Assistant. So it's actually showing which ones of our tags are firing. So our button click example did fire. That is okay. What we want to do now is I came down here and I linked this button just basically to nothing, but it is linked. So if we click on it, it's going to actually have some action that it does. So when we come back over here to Tag Assistant, what you're going to see is we have a link click here. So that was the link click we just did. So we're going to do it one more time. You'll see it again. So click on it again and we come back over and you'll see another link click here. So when you do that and you see this link click, this is what we want to track. And what you can do is look at the variables here. So you can see what the events are, gtm.linkClick, the click class. So you can see that right here, the click element. So this is usually a very long string. The click element. So the easiest way to me to actually track this is to track the click text, the actual text itself track. But if you look here, you'll see click URL, click target, different things that we're actually tracking here. So some of these may look a little bit different, even GTM link click, for example. But the main thing is you need a variable that is unique to this button. And for this button itself, it is this click text. So we come back over so we can exit Tag Assistant. We'll come back over to Tag Manager. Okay, so from over here, we want to come back to our tags. So hopefully this all makes sense, kind of trying to make it make a little bit more sense why we're setting this up the way we are. So we click on triggering here. You're going to see our firing trigger. Let's get rid of this one. Let's click on the plus sign. Trigger configuration, we're going to do all elements. You could do just links, but we're going to do some clicks. And now you'll see a bunch of these here. So click ID, click target, click text, click URL, some of the different things that we were looking at. In this one, we're going to select click text contains, or we could do equals, and we have track this button. You could also do equals, so we could just keep this as equals, track this button, set it exactly like the text that showed in the variable that we just did. So the button, we're going to say track this button trigger, okay, and we'll click on save and save again. And now let's submit our workspace. So we'll just say new version, okay, and we will publish this. So now we have this published, and if we come back over to our workspace and we take our URL one more time, so the pool liner replacement page, and we go to Google Tag Assistant again, click on preview. I want to take a quick break from my video tutorial to tell you about my 2 free training videos. My first is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Google Ads training. That will give you a process to be successful with Google Ads. Go to surfsideppc.com/training to get access to that. The other one is going to be my from 0 to 5K per month roadmap. This is going to be an inbound marketing training that's going to teach you how to drive more leads and grow your business. So you go to surfsideinbound.com and you can access that one. Let's get back to our tutorial. Preview. Okay, so we come into this page now, and if we come over to the Tag Assistant first, you can see now the tag is not tracking now. So you'll see just the conversion linker, desktop phone calls only tracks when somebody has a 30-second phone call. This is the same conversion. I just did a separate tutorial. Tags not fired, so you'll see mobile calls, text message, email, thank you page example 1, Google Analytics 4 event. So a bunch of different things that haven't tracked yet. Here is the one that we want right here. So button click example. So let's come back over here and we'll click on our button. So we click on it. Okay, it registered. And now you'll see button click example is now tracking as a Google Ads conversion And now we can actually optimize for this within our campaigns. Just to make sure our other ones are working, let's just come over to Tag Assistant. We will do our mobile phone call conversion here. Okay, so we click that one. We'll do our text message conversion here. We click that one, click on cancel, and we come back over, and now you can see all of these tags have fired. So thank you page, not fired. These ones are set. The text message and mobile phone calls examples are set to only track when somebody's on a mobile device. The other ones are not set that way. So that's why those ones are tracking. The other ones are not. But the most important one, button click example here, very easy to do it. Just basically set up the actual text on your button. Now, there are other ways to do this if you're sending people to a specific landing page, and depending on how you are actually using your button, but the way I've had the most success is just doing this. And if you have a similar button everywhere on your website where it might be learn more or request a quote or schedule an appointment or something like that, you could basically track every button on your website using this method. If you only want to track this button on this one singular page, what you need to do is go back into your tags and just update your trigger. So if we do button click example and our trigger, we want this trigger to fire on some clicks when the click text equals track this button, and when the page URL, and you could even just do contains or you could do equals, but we could do the page URL, and I'll just do contains because I only have one page on my website that contains this, I think. Page URL contains pool liner replacement. You could also do page URL equals and do your entire URL. Click on save. Now it will only track on that singular page. So this is how to do it if you want to track it on one button click, one page, just to make sure you're tracking that correct button. But this is tracking a button click in Google Ads and how we can actually create this conversion. And last but not least, the very final thing you want to do is come into your campaign, go into your campaign settings, and from here, what you can do is make sure that through your conversion goals, you are optimizing for that conversion that we just created. I don't know if we actually are. So if you click on change campaign goals, here we go, request quotes, click on save, and now we are optimizing for that button click example conversion as well. No recent conversions means that Google has already registered that that is tracking on our page. So if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching my video today, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Okay, I just finished a longer version of this tutorial, so if you want to watch that, I just published it to my channel, but this is going to be the shorter version, my number one keyword research tip that I can give you, and basically it's one of the biggest mistakes that I see in accounts when somebody reaches out to me and they are dealing with some type of issue that is holding back their conversions. So when you are creating a new ad group, first things first, I want to just show you that you can use the built-in keyword planner here, and I use this all the time when I'm creating a brand new ad group or even working and creating a new campaign. It could also be really useful to help you find additional keywords to target. But if I do, for example, something like swimming pool cleaning services. So I'm trying to provide swimming pool cleaning services. I search that here. I can enter a URL up at the top as well. And then we can get keyword suggestions, and we're going to get a bunch of different keyword suggestions here. The main thing that I need to tell you is how important it is to understand keyword search intent. So there's going to be certain keywords, especially something like cleaners, where somebody may be searching for pool cleaning kits, pool cleaning service, or pool cleaners, pool cleaner kits, best pool cleaning chemicals. So there's going to be things people search, and you need to understand that the way you target keywords in Google Ads may end up targeting some of these different keywords or search terms that aren't necessarily what you'd want to be targeting. I would not recommend targeting a keyword like this, swimming pool cleaning, because this will match to people that are looking for supplies, kits, DIY, how-tos, how much it's going to cost, maybe reviews from other companies. What you really want to be focused on are keywords like pool cleaning companies near me, or swimming pool cleaning service, or swimming pool cleaning service near me, or pool cleaning services near me. Those are the types of keywords you want to focus on, because the search intent behind them is going to be somebody who's actively looking for a swimming pool cleaning service. So if I take something like swimming pool cleaning and we come over here, and water heater replacement will be another example I show you in a second, and I just do swimming pool cleaning, you're going to see ads here. It's going to look like it's a very relevant keyword that we can target, but I would just tell you that just based on the experience that I have in Google Ads, this keyword may end up driving conversions, but it's not going to perform as well as swimming pool cleaning services, as swimming pool cleaning companies near me, as swimming pool cleaning near me. So as you expand your campaign, I have no issue with targeting a keyword like this. There's plenty of average monthly searches. The cost per click isn't overly high considering you can earn a lot of money from an ongoing cleaning service. But when you come in here and you start seeing things like, okay, pool cleaning guide, pool maintenance for dummies through Reddit. Now we do have this one here, so Pool Works Myrtle Beach, mobile swimming pool service, but then you get a bunch of videos in here. Basically, Google is telling us by the results that they're giving us, we're not 100% sure what the search intent is for this keyword, because we're going to give you some information that's going to be related to services. And then we're also going to give you some products, some kits, some videos here, some different tutorials. So we'll also give you the best 10 pool cleaners in your local area, because we're not really positive what you're looking for based on this search term. So when we are trying to target search terms, there's nothing wrong with going a little bit more broad. As you start getting more data in your campaign, as you start getting more conversions, I would rather start a campaign with one keyword here that's just swimming pool services or swimming pool cleaning services near me. Keep it as relevant as possible. Swimming pool cleaning near me, and do maybe something like swimming pool cleaning services. And you could even do near me for that one as well. You could start with literally these two keywords, and that would be a better approach than trying to target 15 different keywords, different keyword match types. The other thing when you're doing keyword research, starting a brand new campaign, I would highly recommend using phrase match keywords or exact match keywords, depending on how many keywords you're targeting and what keywords you're targeting. I would not recommend broad match keywords for a brand new campaign. Broad match are for high budgets with a lot of conversion data. So let's come over here to the Google Keyword Planner. This is really where I'm going to give you basically the rest of this video of the most important things when it comes to making sure that you're targeting the right keywords. And let's just say, for example, let's say this company reaches out to me and said, hey, we're trying to get people that need their water heater repaired, need water heater installation services. So we're trying to reach people that are doing that. So I say, okay, let me take your landing page first and foremost. We'll come in here to discover new keywords, start with a website. We'll use just this page. So we're using the page and we're clicking on get results. Again, you could do the same thing through the ad group section, through the campaigns and ad groups. Use a landing page to find additional keywords. But as we scroll down here, 1,100 keyword ideas. What the problem with that is there's so many different keywords here that are not the keywords that we want to target. So the keywords that we want to target are going to be like this: water heater repair near me, because we know that this has a search intent, and that is going to be the main thing I'm hammering home during this video. A search intent of somebody looking for that service. So there's going to be plenty of different things here like water heater repair. So again, this is going to be one that's just like, really quickly, I've been using this tool for a couple of months, Search Atlas and Otto. So if you go to surfsideppc.com/Otto, you can get a 7-day free trial. It is my favorite SEO tool I've ever used, like the swimming pool cleaning. We come over here and first let's come back. Which one did I search? So water heater replacement. Water heater replacement is a much better keyword because it actually shows a little bit of like, okay, I need to replace my water heater. It's still one that I'm kind of on the fence about. It does get a lot of average monthly searches. So that basically means that Google will match this with a lot of different keywords. Two different things that I always do if I'm not positive of whether or not I should target a keyword: look at the long tail keywords just by doing this. Put it into Google, do a space, you can see cost. Okay, so near me, this is the one you want to target. Water heater replacement near me, cost 40 gallon, labor cost, price, Home Depot, cost Reddit. Most of these are not keywords we want to target. So that means I probably wouldn't target this. I'm also a huge fan of using the Surfer Chrome extension because of Keyword Surfer, and it's going to give you these long tail keywords. And as I see things in here like Home Depot water heaters, as I see things like Lowe's water heaters, anything that is related to pricing or purchasing a new water heater, that is not what this company does. This company does repairs and installations. Now, they may do something where you can purchase the water heater through them, but it does not seem like that's what they do. So if we come back over here and we look at the actual search intent for this individual keyword, it could potentially have the right search intent, but do we want to spend $20 for a click, $40 for 2 clicks, $60 for 3 clicks, and then find out, okay, we spent $100 on 5 clicks and we haven't gotten a single conversion. This traffic is just not interacting with our website. So why don't we target a keyword that is a little better search intent, especially when we're trying to target this individual service? And then from there, basically all you would have to do is say, okay, we do water heater repair, we do hot water heater repair, tankless water heater repair. We can target literally just these 3 keywords. It's like that simple. Target these 3 keywords. There's plenty of average monthly searches. You can see the bid ranges are a little bit high, and just targeting these phrase match keywords are going to target hundreds of different search terms. And if we just look at what actually comes up in Google when we search something like this, so hot water heater repair near me, we're going to be able to see, okay, this is much more of All of the results here are local businesses. So you start with your local services ads. You should obviously run those. Then you have your sponsored ads here. It's like, okay, then we have our businesses here. And then we start getting into Yelp, and we start getting into some of these local companies around here. And even the Home Depot one that comes up is a home service page. So we know that the search intent is correct. And we know that if we're targeting this keyword as a phrase match keyword, that we're going to see much better search terms coming in. So when it comes to keyword research, the number one tip that I can give you, the number one strategy is don't go overly broad thinking that that's going to give you the best results because you're suddenly tapping into all this new search volume. What you want to do is you want to find the keywords that have the highest search intent that are going to actually show an advertisement like yours, that when you do a search like this one, you see an advertisement where your ad would fit in perfectly. And then all you need to do from there is create an ad talking about your water heater repair services. Make sure your landing page answers all the questions people have. And basically you've set up a perfect experience for people, and your keyword research works much better, and you're not targeting thousands of different keywords. You basically found the 2, 3, 4, 5 high search intent keywords for that ad group. You targeted them. You can always expand your keyword list later. So number one keyword research tip for Google Ads that is going to help you drive more conversions is make sure you are optimizing for search intent more than anything else. Today, I'm going to be going over how to track if somebody sends you an email. So if you're using a mail to email link, and you can see I have one up at the top here on my website. If we scroll down, I have a button here that has a mail to link on it. And then at the very bottom of my page, I also have one as well. So anytime you have a contact page or you have your contact information listed like this, I would highly recommend putting the actual email itself rather than doing the button the way that I did it here. So just basically put, the email logo, info at, and you could just do the same thing I did, email, and put your email address. Then people can actually see it, and it's a little bit harder to track whether or not they actually send that email to you, but there are things that you can do as far as the button click that make it a little bit easier to track if that does come directly from the button click itself. So I'll go over that throughout the video. So the very first thing that you need to do when you're getting started with this is make sure you have a clickable email link. So the way to do that is, and I have Elementor opened here, so you could do this directly through WordPress, directly on any website platform that you're using. The main thing is your link here. So you can see my link, it's a mail to, and then a colon, and then you put your email here. So this could be all the link is, and then it will send an email. It'll basically open up when somebody clicks on this link, it'll open up their email platform, and it'll start an email directly to your email. Now, what you can do to kind of take this a step further is if we come over here, you can do a question mark subject equals, and then just basically do whatever subject line you want to. The way to do a space between every word is %20. So you could do a subject line, and you can do the actual body of the email. So we have mail to info at Aquabliss Care. Subject is interested in, you can see the little in right there, in swimming pool services. And then we do the ampersand sign, so an end symbol, and then we do body, and the same thing equals, please let me know more information. So basically this would open up an email where if somebody clicks this button, they will start writing this exact email directly to your business. And generally a lot of people are not going to change the subject line. So what I would highly recommend doing is creating a subject line that immediately somebody's going to see it and say, you'll see it at your company and you'll say, okay, this came from an email click, and it's not somebody just reaching out to us directly. So somebody actually clicking on one of our buttons. So doesn't necessarily say that it's from Google Ads or anything like that. And one of the issues you may run into is somebody clicking on this button and never sending the email. It's the same thing with text messages at times. Even for mobile phone calls, people have to click and then click again to actually call you. So basically what we're tracking is the initial click on this button here. So the way to do that, and I have a WordPress website, the way to do that is by installing Google Tag Manager first and foremost. And the way that we do that is after you create your Google Tag Manager account, they will usually prompt you this, but if not, go to the admin tab here and then install Google Tag Manager, and install, if you're using WordPress, the WP Code plugin. So the WP Code plugin will allow you to insert a header and a body tag. So you'll see header and footer here. When you do install that plugin, go to Code Snippets, click on header and footer. It is still the WP Code plugin. There is a Code Snippets plugin. That one also does the same thing, but I've just always used WP Code without any issues. So header and footer here, and we can put this one in the head section and this one underneath the opening body tag. Click on Save Changes, and then over here in Google Tag Manager, you will be all have this installed on your website. You can submit your container, but you don't need to do that at this point. So what we need to do next is we need to actually create the conversion action in Google Ads so we can actually track this as a conversion. So we want to track every time somebody clicks on this button or clicks on any of our email links, and specifically links that say mail to in them. So the way to do an email link, you can see at the very bottom of the page down here, is mail to info@aquablisscare.com, obviously replace with your email. So we come back over here to Google Ads, and let's start by creating our conversion goal. So we're going to come over here to goals, and we're going to go to conversion summary, and we're going to click on to create a new conversion action. It's going to be a website conversion. We can enter our domain name here. So we'll just do aquablisscare.com, do a quick scan. It's going to say we are using Google Analytics, but we are just going to be creating this conversion action manually in Google Tag Manager. So goal and action optimization, generally something like this is going to be a lead category, and I would just do it as a contact. The conversion action optimization would be a primary action used for bidding optimization. Conversion name, so we'll just say email clicks example. Can use the same value for every conversion, just set this to 1. For count, you just want to select 1. So if somebody clicks on this button 10 times, you just want to count it as 1 conversion because it's 1 lead. You don't want to count multiple conversions here. Click through conversion window. Generally, this is going to be a shorter one because most people aren't going to click an ad and go back to your website and click on an email button after a few months, but I always extend it because I'd rather get more of this data than less. Attribution will be data driven. We have enhanced conversions turned on, and we can click on done here. And now we have our new conversion goal created. So we're going to click on save and continue. And now we need to get our instructions and finish. So we're going to be using Google Tag Manager here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom where you see next steps, the first thing it's going to tell you to do is add a conversion link or tag and configure it to fire on all of your pages. So if we come over here, click on the tags here, and you can see I already have mine created, but click on new, tag configuration, Google Ads, conversion linker, name your tag, set it to trigger on every single page. So all pages here. Click on save, and it's that easy to add the conversion linker. It's available through the Google Ads tags here. So we'll click on the X here, discard changes, and this is what yours should look like. Conversion linker, you can name it whatever you want. Tag type, triggering, and that's it. So next is going to be tracking the actual email button itself. So I just went over how to track a button, and what I tracked and that will be on my channel, but what I tracked was just a button on my website where somebody can come in and they can click on a button. This would work the same exact way. So it's pretty much the same exact setup, but for an email link, I generally try to do it a little bit different. Come to the tag screen over here, and we're going to click on new, and we're going to go to tag configuration, Google Ads, and Google Ads conversion tracking again. And now what we want to do is set our conversion ID, conversion label. So we'll come over to Google Ads, take our conversion ID here, copy it, come back over to Tag Manager and paste our conversion ID, back over to Google Ads, copy this conversion label. So you'll see conversion ID and conversion label are the two that you need to do. And over here in Tag Manager, do the conversion label. Now we'll name this tag, we'll say email clicks example. Okay, and then we need to set a trigger. So when this is actually going to track as a conversion, you can see I already have this set up actually. So mail to, just links when the click URL contains mail to. Now really quickly, just to make sure I go over this. So I'm just gonna set this like this for now, but under variables, you wanna make sure you set your variables. So click on configure and make sure you do all of these different click and form variables. You shouldn't need the forms for this, but you might need them for future ones. But you can see all of our click ones here. Click on the X, come over here to tags, and let's open up our our email clicks example tag, and now we need to set our trigger correctly. So click on get rid of that one, click the new trigger, click on the plus sign up here at the top, configuration, click, you could do all elements or just links. I like using just links and doing some link clicks when the click URL contains mail to. So that's all you need to do here, and we can name it. Okay, so name on save. And now we have our Google Ads conversion tracking, our conversion ID and label, and our trigger over here. We can click on save. Okay, and now we just need to submit this, and we'll just version. Okay, so now that will track any of those clicks on our website everywhere that they are. So if somebody comes to our website and they end up seeing this at the very top, they click on it, then that will count as a conversion. If somebody clicks on one of these buttons, it'll count as a conversion on the entire website. So we have this tag set up. The very last thing that we want to do is we want to actually preview this tag and make sure it is working properly. So let's take our pool liner replacement page, click on preview, enter that URL, and then we connect to the Google Tag Assistant. It's going to open up that page using the Google. So you can see this is not fired yet. So if we click on continue here, go to tags that did not fire, and our One here is email clicks example. I actually have this set up twice. So Google Ads conversion email and then email clicks example. So when we click on it, both of these should track. So if you're not seeing it track, then you have to reconfigure your trigger. But we're going to click here at the top. We'll click on it. And we'll come back over here and you're going to see, okay, we have our email clicks example. Our Google Ads conversion email has now been a fired tag. And when you see here, when you click, you could see some of these. So in this link click is when these tags actually fired. If you go into the variables, you can actually see all the variables that tag when we click on that link. So the click text you could see is info@AquaBlissCare. Click URL you could see right here. So you could use either of those to actually track this. I prefer to use click URL, but if you are just linking your email everywhere across your website, you can also use click text. And that's another one that you can track the same exact way. But now we have this tracking. We know that it's working properly. Even if we come down here, so you'll see we have like 7, 8 link click, 8 outbound clicks. Let's click on this one here. So we click on it. Okay, so now that should load again. And there you go. Click, link click, outbound clicks, 9, 10, 11. So it'll keep tracking every time we click on this. And obviously the way we have it set up through Google Ads is it'll only track that one conversion, even if somebody clicks on the button, 500 times. But over here through your campaigns, the last thing that you want to do is make sure that within your campaign settings, so you come over here to the settings of your campaign, go to your conversion goals here and just make sure that you are optimizing for that email clicks example tag that we have here. So you'll see this working here. Email new was another example that I did, but now we have the email tracking. So if somebody comes to our website, clicks on this to send us an email, we can actually track that button click as a conversion. So if you have any questions about any of this, please leave them in the comment section. Thanks for watching my video today, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Welcome to my Google Ads phone call conversion tracking tutorial. This is going to be my most detailed tutorial about phone call conversion tracking, not using any third-party tools. So we are going to be using Google Tag Manager, but not any phone call tracking tools. So what we're going to be tracking today are going to be calls directly from the ads themselves. So whether they are call-only ads or they are call extensions, aka call assets. The other one is going to be calls to a phone number on your website. So that is somebody who is visiting your website and actually types in the number on their phone and gives you a phone call. And then the third one is going to be clicks on your number on your mobile website. And that is going to be when somebody actually clicks on a clickable call button directly on your website. So those are going to be the 3 different conversions that we go through throughout this video. So you'll know exactly how to set up conversion tracking. So let's get into this, getting started with call assets, aka call extensions, and how we can track conversions from those. Okay, today I'm going to be going over Google Ads call assets. So we're going to go into the asset screen here. I previously went over how to track phone calls on your website when you have a clickable phone call button, and also how to track them if somebody is on a computer and then types your phone number in after they click on your Google ad. So in this one, I'm going to be going over call assets, which are attached to your advertisement, and people can actually call your business directly from the advertisement itself. These work on both mobile and desktop. So on mobile, it's generally going to be a clickable call button. On desktop, they may show your phone number, but they'll show a forwarding number. So if somebody types that number in and they call you directly, then you'll actually get credit for that conversion as well. So let's come over here to our assets and you'll see call right here. So we want to make sure we create our call asset. And you can see here, I have my call asset created. It is a fake phone number here, so just keep that in mind. And over here, you're going to be able to see some things about as far as phone impressions. I have 0 phone calls, 65 impressions, 1 click when my call asset is showing, but 0 phone calls to this point. I'm not really spending enough to get too much out of this campaign. But this is last 14 days, $1.19. So really quickly, I've been using this tool for a couple of months, Search Atlas and Auto. So if you go to surfsideppc.com/auto, you can get a 7-day free trial. It is my favorite SEO tool I've ever used. Obviously, we've only had 1 click when our actual call asset is showing. So what we want to do is we want to click on the plus sign here in order to create our call asset if you haven't created already. And the main things to keep in mind when you are creating it is you are going to add this to either the account level, which I do often, the campaign level, or the ad group level, which I do not do as often. So the campaign level, account level, 2 different ways you can add this. I'll just add it at the campaign level for right now. And what we want to do is we want to take our phone number. So we already have an existing call asset here, but I want to create a new one just to show you how to do it. So we want to take our phone number up here at the top. We'll copy this. And you want to enter your phone number in the exact same format they show here. So you'll see how this starts to look on a mobile device. So somebody can click on this call button and call your business directly. And then what you're going to see is we have call reporting is turned on. Find out when calls are made, received, the duration of the calls, and the caller's area code. This should be turned on automatically in your account. I will show you after I do this how to make sure that you have this turned on. And then the next thing is going to be your conversion action. So using account settings, calls from ads, you could do calls from ads here. This is the account setting that they're talking about. And then so let's just do phone calls directly from ads just because that's the one that I created. Call interaction bid adjustment. So you'd say, I want to increase my call interaction bid adjustment by 25%. So then I'm actually bidding higher to make sure people are calling my business directly. Advanced option, you can set a schedule for your call assets as well. Usually I am more of a fan of setting ad schedules in general, but if you don't want to have any calls after hours, if you are getting a lot of calls from your advertisements, then you could always come here and say, okay, during these after hours, I don't want this to show because I'd rather people go directly to my website, and I want to make sure that people just contact me using my form when it's after hours so we can get their information. So once you have this all set here, we're not going to do a schedule. Easy to set a schedule. Just set however you want to. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Maybe we'll just do that. So we'll do Monday through Friday, and let's say we open at 8:30 and we close at 5 p.m. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll do like 4:45 p.m. because you don't want to get a call at 4:59, which generally you're not going to. But so we have our schedule here. So you could add additional schedules if you want. If you want to do, something for Saturday and Sunday, increase by 25%, phone calls directly from ads. We have our call asset created. We click on save. So now this call asset is added to our campaign. You obviously don't really want to add two separate call assets to your campaign. So I would just run one. Obviously, we'll just pause this one for now. And then what I want to go over real quick. So over here in the admin section, and we'll come over to admin and account settings. One of the account settings for your Google Ads account is going to be call reporting, and you want to make sure that's turned on. Get detailed information about the calls you've received. Now, there's a few different things here. Save call recordings for 30 days. Listen to call recordings from your call details report. Make sure your ad or ad extension has a US phone number and a verified URL. So if we click on here, you have to accept the calls and messaging terms here. I'm not going to be doing that right now, so we're just going to save this as off. This is generally not something I do. Usually if my client is using CallRail or something similar to that, that's where I will do more of the call recordings. Send Google Ads data to a call analytics provider. So we turn this on. So let's acknowledge, choose a provider, and you'll see all the different providers here. So these are really good providers to use if you're getting a lot of phone calls and you want to track where all your phone calls are coming from. So if you're like a doctor's office and you're managing 20, 30 phone calls per day, then you may say, let's make sure we set up CallRail or call tracking metrics or Invoca. I've used all of those. I'm not familiar with some of the other ones. And you can have this set up. It's also easy to set those up without doing it through here. And then you can choose how calls are counted as conversions. This will bring us into the conversion screen, which we want to do next. So you definitely want to have the detailed information about the calls you've received, and you want to save that. The other ones you can turn on if you want to, but this is important. So you're actually tracking those conversions in your actual campaign. Next, within our settings, so same thing here. So this is not our account settings. This is for our goals and our settings. And you want to select a default conversion actions to track conversions when call reporting is enabled. If I create my own, which I did, and I'm just going to show you that, we have phone calls directly from ads. And then let's come over here and click on save. Okay, so we save that, and that is my call conversion action. I want to take a quick break from my video tutorial to tell you about my 2 free training videos. My first is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Google Ads training. That will give you a process to be successful with Google Ads. Go to surfsideppc.com/training to get access to that. The other one is going to be my from 0 to 5K per month roadmap. This is going to be an inbound marketing training that's going to teach you how to drive more leads and grow your business. So you go to surfsideinbound.com and you can access that one. Let's get back to our tutorial. So now we come over to our goals and our summary. And what you want to make sure here is we have our phone call lead, phone calls directly from ads here. This is one that I created. So you can see I named it phone calls directly from ads. It's a primary action. Any call that's over 30 seconds, we want to count as a conversion. So what I generally recommend is using 60 seconds here. If you're just getting started, you're just trying to count as many conversions as possible. Even if you're getting phone calls that are short, things like that, you could always start this at 30 and increase it. Sometimes I'll increase it to 90. So then we know it's at least a minute and a half, and we're going after longer phone calls. So if I have a client who's spending 10 grand a month and they're getting hundreds of phone calls per month, then it makes more sense to increase this call length because you want to optimize for longer phone calls. The other thing that's really important is the counting is just one conversion because you don't want somebody who's calling you multiple times from your ads to count as different conversions. You just want to count every single call as one conversion because it is a lead and it is a unique lead. So to set up your own conversion action. When you click on create conversion action here, go to phone calls, and you're going to see calls from ads using call extensions or call only ads. Click on continue, and then you can configure your conversion. So this is where I entered phone calls directly from ads, use the same value. I set mine at 3 because I want leads, and then count 1, 60 seconds, 30 days, create and continue. It's that easy. And then the last part is just two different things, making sure that you have your asset set up here. So let's just double check that we are optimizing for the right conversion for our call asset. Come over here, click on our call, click on edit, and then you're going to see call reporting turned on. We have the right conversion action, so we don't even need to save this. We have it all set correctly. Last but not least, you want to make sure your campaign is actually optimizing for this conversion itself. So we come into our campaign settings here, and once this loads, you'll see conversion goals, phone call leads, and you should see our phone calls directly from ads here. This is our call asset conversion. So these are the 3 different types of conversions I generally track for phone calls: call assets directly from the ads themselves, the clickable call. So if somebody clicks on one of my phone call buttons, for example, if we come over here to pool liner replacement, we come down, you can see I have a phone call number right here. Somebody clicks that, it's a conversion, and then somebody actually types this number in directly, it will be a forwarding number. Then we can track that as well. So these are the 3 different types of call conversions, but this video is just about call assets. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Thank you for watching my video, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be going over Google Ads phone call conversion tracking using Google Tag Manager, and specifically what I'm going to be going over are when people visit your website on a desktop computer, on their laptop, or anything like that, and they end up calling from their cell phone, how we can actually track that as a conversion in Google Ads when nobody clicks on a button. So basically, how do we track this phone call conversion when somebody's actually making that phone call, even though they're not directly on your mobile website? So that's what we're going to be setting up today, and we're going to be getting started by installing Google Tag Manager on our website. Really quickly, I've been using this tool for a couple of months, Search Atlas and Otto. So if you go to surfsideppc.com/Otto, you can get a 7-day free trial. It is my favorite SEO tool I've ever used. So let's get back to the video, and we're going to come over here to Google Tag Manager and come over to the admin section so that we can actually install this. So we want to click on Install Google Tag Manager, and you'll also see this when you first create a Google Tag Manager account if you haven't created that already. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to come over to our website, and the way that I do this on WordPress is with the WP Code plugin. So if you go to plugins, add new plugin, and you search WP Code, you'll see this one here. This is the logo for it, so it's blue. And we scroll down here, and on the left-hand side, after you install and activate it, you're going to see code snippets. So this is part of WP Code, and you have code snippets here, but you want to go into header and footer. And to install Google Tag Manager, you just need to take this piece of code, put it in the first box here under the opening header tag, and then the second piece of code under this body box here. This will be printed immediately after the opening body tag. Click on Save Changes, and now you have Google Tag Manager installed on your website. So 2 pieces of code to install Google Tag Manager, and then we can come back over here to our workspace, and what we're going to be doing is creating tags. Now let's come back to Google Ads first, and one of the most important parts of this, so if we come into goals and we go to conversions and summary, one of the most important parts of this is as we come over here and we look at our page is to make sure your phone number is formatted exactly the same across your entire website. So I know this could be difficult if you're working with a website that has it formatted a few different ways. There are ways around that, but you want it to be formatted like this everywhere it's on your website. So up at the top, you could see it's the same format here. I have parentheses, a space in between. It doesn't necessarily have to be this format. It just has to be the same format everywhere. If we scroll down to the bottom, I think I have the same down here. And even on my Contact Us page, basically everywhere my phone number is, a lot of times what I like to do is create one button like this and then paste it all over the website. Make sure the button's working properly and it calls the business correctly, and then just use the same exact button all over the website. So makes it a little bit easier to keep everything organized. But the reason being is that the way we're going to track this is with a call forwarding number, and Google's going to do this automatically based on the format of our phone number and how it's displayed on our website. So let's come back over here to Google Ads, and we went into goals and summary so we can create a new conversion action. The conversion action we're going to select is going to be phone calls, and then it's going to be calls to a phone number on your website. So it's going to be this middle option here, and we're going to click on continue. Next, we're going to enter a conversion name. A lot of times I call these desktop phone calls like this. So just basically somebody is not on a mobile device. They are on a desktop or laptop, basically, which is considered a desktop. But I will call them desktop phone calls, and I'll just say this example 1. And then we can use the same value for each conversion. If phone calls are more valuable for your business, you could always make these 2 or 3 if you're trying to value it a little bit higher than a form submission. If you know phone calls are worth $50 for your business, then enter $50 here, and that will allow you to understand, like, okay, every time I'm getting a phone call from Google Ads, it's worth $50 for my business. For right now, I'm just going to set this to 1. Every conversion is going to be worth $1 to my business. Count, we want to select 1 for phone calls in case somebody calls you multiple times. You don't want to count that as different conversions. I want to take a quick break from my video tutorial to tell you about my 2 free training videos. My first is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Google Ads training. That will give you a process to be successful with Google Ads. Go to surfsideppc.com/training to get access to that. The other one is going to be my from 0 to 5K per month roadmap. This is going to be an inbound marketing training that's going to teach you how to drive more leads and grow your business. So you go to surfsideinbound.com and you can access that one. Let's get back to our tutorial. Next is going to be our destination number and our display number. So if we come over to our website and I copy my phone number here, so we just copy our fake phone number we have set up over here, and we enter that, and you want to make sure you have this exactly correct. So just make sure there's no space in the beginning, destination number, and you want to use the same format that Google shows here. You can adjust this for your country, so it's going to be a little bit different depending on the country you're located in. But you could see here for the example, so we have our parentheses, space, and we have the same exact thing here. So we actually have the same exact phone number as the example. The display number, so this is the important part. This is where you need to put exactly how the phone number is displayed on your website. So you can see how it's displayed on my website here and how it was displayed everywhere else. So you can basically copy that and paste it here because this display number needs to exactly match so you actually can track this as a conversion. Now, if you do have different ways it's formatted on your website, you could always set up 2 separate conversions if it makes it a little bit easier. I've done this before because I've had clients who have their phone number looks different all over their website. So I have 2 separate conversions and both of them track conversions separately. So it's still going to track your desktop phone call conversions, but it won't here. Next is going to be call length. So how long does the call need to be in order to count for a conversion? I generally leave this at 60 seconds. If I'm really trying to get more conversion data, sometimes I'll lower it. Sometimes I will make this a little bit higher if we are getting a lot of phone calls that are shorter, that are not leading to conversions. So this is really take a data-based approach with this, but 60 seconds generally is a good number to start with. And then click through conversion window. I'll just make this as long as possible. Why not? I'd rather get more credit for a conversion, even if it happens after a month. So the next thing we need to do is set up our tag. So we're going to be doing this with Google Tag Manager, and we have our conversion ID and conversion label here. So when you come over to Google Tag Manager, the very first thing you need to do is make sure you install Conversion Linker. So Conversion Linker is available in Google Tag Manager, and it is for your Google Ads conversion so that they can actually track every single conversion. So you can see here, make sure you add a Conversion Linker tag and configure it to fire on all of your web pages. So we come back over here, Conversion Linker, name it. You can do Google Ads and Conversion Linker and then trigger this on all pages. And it's really that simple. So it's through the Google Ads option here. You'll see Conversion Linker and that's all you have to do. We already have this, so we are not going to add Conversion Linker twice, but just add it on all pages. Be doing your and then tag configuration here, Google Ads, and we will do, this is an important one. So you need Google Ads from website conversion. So we click on this one, displayed phone number to replace, conversion ID and conversion label. So let's see if I still have this. Still have it pasted there. So you want it to put the way your display number looks here. So 908, 555 hyphen 0123. And then we want to come over here and get our conversion ID, copy that, paste our conversion ID, and then come back over here and get our conversion label, copy that, and paste that one as well. So this is one of the most important phone call conversions to track. And Google will actually use a call forwarding number on your website when somebody clicks through from a Google ad. And then all we need to do is trigger this on all pages. So it's one of the interesting ones that's going to fire all the time. The tag itself is going to fire. However, we have the conversion set up that it needs to be a 60-second or longer phone call to actually count as a conversion in Google Ads. So it's not really the easiest one to track and to actually make sure is working properly until you start seeing those conversions coming in, or you try to just do it yourself where you click on one of your Google ads, click on the number and make sure it's working. But if you set it up like this and you have your number formatted correctly, it should track that. You'll see our desktop phone call example 1 here. All we need to do now is submit this, and I'm just going to put new version, and we'll do the same thing below here, copy and paste that, and publish. So now that will be tracking on our website, and basically what you can do and what I'd recommend doing is just doing a quick preview, and we'll pull our pool liner replacement page here, doing a quick preview and entering that URL and then we connect to the Google Tag Assistant real quick, and you should see this tag fire. And obviously it's not something, so we have desktop phone call example 1, and then here is my other one. So desktop phone calls. So it's going to be slightly different than some of the other tags that we have down here. For example, I did a few different mobile calls, text message. I've been doing some different tutorials here. So if we scroll down here and we click on this, it'll count it as a mobile phone call conversion. So you'll see our mobile phone call example here, Google Ads conversion for mobile calls. We could do the same thing with text messages as well. If we click here, you'll see that is actually going to pull up our text message. So Google Ads conversion for text message. The ones down here that aren't firing is because I added an extra little layer of the screen resolution. So these two are not tracking on desktop devices. They only track on mobile devices, but you will see here that your desktop phone calls fires. So that's the most important thing. The example 1 is firing. Now it should track correctly as long as when people do visit our website, they type in this number. We have a 60-second or longer phone call that will start to track that as those start to come in from your Google Ads campaign. So this is how to track desktop conversions, basically desktop phone call conversions. And the very last thing that you'll need to do is we just come over to our campaign. You just want to make sure that your campaign is optimizing for this. So within your goals, this should automatically be set up as a primary conversion action. You could always change that, but I'll probably get rid of some of these after the video. If we come over here to our campaigns and we click on campaign settings, what I would recommend doing is just making sure that your campaign is set up with an objective of leads. So if you're trying to drive phone calls, you have leads here as your objective. And then for your conversion goals, just make sure that if it's account specific, you have a primary conversion. If it's campaign specific, make sure it is showing here. I have a lot of duplicates because I've been doing some different tutorials, but this is the way that your conversion should look so that you know that you're actually optimizing for the conversions for your campaign. So this is desktop phone call conversions. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Thank you for watching the Surfside PPC YouTube channel, and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you want access to all of my long form tutorials and some of my courses that I've created that I'm only putting out on Surfside Inbound, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Surfside Inbound. It is only $4.99 per month. You can also join through my YouTube channel. So through the Surfside PPC YouTube channel, from any of my videos, if you click on join, you will get instant access to all of my premium content, including my inbound marketing course, which is 5.5 hours long. I just published it to Patreon and YouTube. So join today if you're interested in more of my content at patreon.com/Surfside Inbound, or by clicking the join button on any of my YouTube videos. Thanks for watching my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Today, I'll be going over how to track a clickable call button on your website as a conversion specifically for mobile devices. So I will be doing that today with Google Ads and tracking that as a conversion in my Google Ads account. And we'll be using Google Tag Manager to do that. So let's get started. The very first thing you need to get started is you need Google Tag Manager installed on your website. So we're going to be tracking this clickable call button on our website. So we need Tag Manager to track that for us. The way that I do that with WordPress is by using the WP Code plugin. So if you go to plugins and you go to add new, search WP Code, you'll see it looks just like this with this blue logo. And once you install it, you're going to have on the left-hand side, it's going to say code snippet. So this is the plugin page for WP Code. And once we have that installed, we can go directly to the header and footer. And after you create your Google Tag Manager account, you're going to come to a page that's going to show you how to install Google Tag Manager. It's very easy to do. So all you need to do is take this piece of code, copy it, put it in under the opening header tag here. So in the header field of header and footer of WP Code, paste that code. And then the other one, take the second piece of code. This goes immediately after the opening body tag. WP Code has this perfect where these scripts will be printed in the head section. These scripts will be printed just below the opening body tag. So we want to put that one right here. And then we save changes. And now we have Google Tag Manager installed on our website. So you can submit your container if you want, but we're going to be setting up tags anyway, so you don't need to submit your container yet. And once you have that installed, the next thing that we need to do is you need to make sure you actually have a clickable call button on your website like this one. So we wanted to make sure that you have this set up correctly. So the way that I do this, and we come to the back end here of Elementor of my website, and if we click on the button here, you're going to see the link looks just like this. So it's TEL, and we have a colon here, and then a plus sign, and then you put the phone number here, and you can start with your country's like the country code, the international code. For the USA, it's 1. So you do 1, and then you do the rest of this phone number. Obviously, this is a fake phone number, but you can see it's 1-555-123-4567. So that would be the phone number people would call when they click on this button. And once they click it, it's going to open it up on their phone. You can go to aquablisscare.com/thankyou if you want to see either of these in action. I just did my actual text message tracking, so that's on the channel already. But when somebody clicks on this, we want to track it as a conversion. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to go into, once we have our button set up, is we need to go into our Google Ads account and we need to go to goals and conversions and summary. And from here, we could actually set up our conversion goal. You can see I already have this one set up, and I generally set up 3 different phone call leads. I'm going to create separate videos about all this, put them all together in one video as well. So the first one, the one I'm going to be going over today, is mobile phone calls on website. And that basically means somebody on their mobile phone who, in my case, are searching for, let's just say, pool cleaning services. They get to my pool cleaning services page after they click on my Google ad, and now they want to call my business directly. They click on this call button. Let's track that as a conversion. Let's track every one of those as a conversion. So what we're going to be doing is creating a new conversion action, and it's going to be phone calls, and it is going to be clicks on your number on your mobile website, and we're going to click on continue. And then we can set a value here, so you can use the same value for each conversion. This is what I would recommend doing. If you do have lead form submissions and different types of conversions, you can always set this as 2, and it will actually track it as a higher value conversion. Otherwise, just track it as 1. Every conversion counts as $1 US. Basically, we're just counting one conversion, and the value is $1. If you know a phone call for your business is worth $50, then enter $50 here, and that will actually track the value more accurately. So keep it at 1 and keep scrolling down. Count is going to be 1. Anytime you're doing a lead, it's always going to be counting 1. Now you can count every with phone calls, but I would not recommend doing that. I would just do 1, because if somebody calls you twice, it's still the same lead. You don't want it to count as 2 conversions in Google Ads unless you have repeat buyers for different types of services, which not generally the case. So click through the conversion window. I will usually make this as long as possible. You don't find very long lead times generally on mobile. Usually that's for, B2B, desktop, things like that. So I'll make these as long as possible. Why not? There's no reason not to track every single phone call as best as we can. And then we're going to be using data-driven attribution and create and continue. A quick 30-second promotion. If you like my content, I have a Google Ads course available, 21 lessons over 10 hours for $34.99. You can access it by going to surfsideppc.com/course. That will give you all the information you need to run successful Google Ads campaigns. If you're interested in learning how to drive more leads for your business, join Surfside Inbound. It's $4.99 a month. It's available on Patreon. It's available through my YouTube membership, and you'll get access to all of my premium content, including a 5.5-hour inbound marketing course. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. Okay, next we're going to set up our tag. We're going to be using Google Tag Manager, and now we have a conversion ID and a conversion label. So let's come over here with our conversion ID. I'm just going to copy this. When you come over to Tag Manager, the first thing that you need to do in your tags is you need to create the conversion linker tag. So you need that tag to actually track your Google Ads conversion. So within the tag configuration here, go to Google Ads, select conversion linker, and then you just need to trigger this on all pages. Name your tag, click on save, so you can name it conversion linker, whatever you want to name it, but you'll actually see that right here. Make sure you add a conversion linker tag and configure it to fire on all of your pages. So that's the one thing that you need to do first. So we're going to discard this for now. You can see I have conversion linker set up, conversion linker, all pages. So click on submit, and now that will be installed. Next, we need to actually set up our mobile phone call conversion tracking. You can see it here. I'm going to set it up as well, but you can see Google Ads conversion. You do conversion tracking, conversion ID, conversion label, and then our firing trigger is going to be a click URL that contains TEL. So let's come back over here. Click on new tag configuration, and we're going to be doing a Google Ads. We're going to come over here, copy that, paste our conversion ID, come over here to our label, copy that, and we're going to paste that here. Okay, so now we have our conversion tracking tag set up. We go to triggering, and we want to trigger this for TEL. So the way that you do this is click on the plus sign, set up a trigger, and it's going to be click TEL. Okay, version name and a detailed description, but I'm the only one working on this, so I don't really need to do that. So just put new version, but you need to submit your container. Any changes that you make in Tag Manager, you need to submit. And now we just did that. So now what we can do is we can check to make sure this is actually working. So we have our button set up, we have Tag Manager installed, we have the conversion added. So now what we want to do is take this URL, you're going to come over to your Tag Manager, and you're going to go to preview, you're going to enter that URL, and you're going to enter the Google Tag Assistant. Okay, so now it's connecting me to my Aqua Bliss Care. It should open your page that you connect to. We have it opened here. Come back over to the tag assistant just to show the tags that have fired. So we click on continue here. So these are the tags that have fired so far. The conversion linker, desktop phone calls fires on every single page, but only counts as a conversion when we have a 60-second phone call. I will go over this conversion in a follow-up video. The thank you page, since we are on our thank you page, it is tracking that as a Google Ads conversion and our Google Analytics 4 event for a thank you page. We also have our Google Analytics 4 tag here, but we have 6 tags that did not fire. So fire, when I come over here and we are on our tag assistant page and I click on this call button. So let's click on the button. Okay, so I clicked it. Let's come back over to Tag Assistant, and now you can see mobile phone calls example 1 and our Google Ads conversion mobile calls. Obviously, you don't want to set up your conversion twice. I'm doing this just as an example, but now we have our mobile phone call tracking set up. If you want to take this a step further, you realize that on a desktop device, if somebody clicks on this, they're not really calling you, and they're probably going to be typing in this number in their phone to call you because most people aren't making calls from a computer. So instead of having this set up as a conversion on desktop devices, you could actually take this a step further. So we're going to close out a Tag Assistant real quick. And if we come back over here to Google Tag Manager, and I don't always set up things like this, so it really depends on how your data coming in looks. If you are getting conversions, then this might be something you want to set up. But you can go into variables of Google Tag Manager and use a screen resolution variable. So you're creating a new variable with custom JavaScript. Okay, and then it's going to be, you can name it screen resolution. You can name it whatever you want, but I name it screen resolution. We have our custom JavaScript here. You could see the function that we have. You could easily find this. This is available on, do a quick Google search. So basically, it's a simple function that is looking at the width of the screen that the person is on. So again, I don't like to add in too many variables when I'm trying to track conversions, because if somebody accidentally clicks it on the desktop device, and then let's just say they end up calling that phone number, it's not the end of the world to me if that counts as 2 conversions, and there's not that many accidental clicks. However, this custom JavaScript, name it screen resolution, it's a function. It is looking at the width of the screen. If it's less than or equal to 520, then the screen type is mobile. So that's simple to set up your user-defined variable. And then within your tag, and we'll show the Tag Assistant again, within your tag, let's find our mobile phone calls example 1. What we can do is okay, so then we know that somebody's on a mobile device, and when they click on that link, it will now count as a conversion only for mobile devices, and we can see this in action. So we will submit our container again. So let's do our mobile phone calls conversion. I said I don't need to do detailed version names, but we did this time. And then we are going to come over here to our thank you page one more time, click on the X up here, and we're going to go to the preview tool again and enter that URL, enter the Google Tag Assistant. Okay, so now we are back over here. Let's just make sure neither of these tags have fired. They have not yet. So we just have these tags fired and both of our mobile phone calls have not. So let's come over to here. We're going to click on the call button one more time, and only our one tag should fire now. So the first one that we set up. So you could see example 1 did not fire because this one now has the caveat that somebody has to be on a mobile device. I am not on a mobile device, so it's not going to count me as a conversion. This one does not have that, so it does count as a conversion. So this is mobile phone call tracking. The very last thing that you need to make sure is that you are actually optimizing for this goal within your campaign. So when you go to your campaign and you click on your campaign settings, you want to make sure that your campaign is set up to drive, especially if you're driving phone calls, set up with the marketing objective of leads. And then you want to make sure that your conversion goals, we have our phone call leads in here. You can use account default or campaign specific. I like to use campaign specific a lot of times, but it's not really a huge difference. But basically you want to make sure that you are tracking for, this is the one we just set up here, and we are optimizing for this one. It's saying unverified, but that's just because we just set it up and it probably hasn't gotten enough data to say that, okay, this is firing. So it should work. We saw it working in the Tag Assistant. So if you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment section. But thank you for watching my video about mobile phone call conversion tracking. Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going over Google Analytics 4 events and how to set them up within your Google Analytics 4 account. I'm also going to be showing you how to create Google Analytics 4 events using Google Tag Manager. And then I'm going to show you how to take an event that you've created, mark it as a key event, and then how to actually import that key event as a conversion in your Google Ads account. So this is a Google Ads conversion tracking video using Google Analytics 4. And basically what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to track something like a thank you page here. here. So if somebody fills out your contact form, they get redirected to a thank you page. I'm going to show you how to set up an event in your account to track that. Now, I already have my event here. It is called lead generated right here. I'll show you how I set that up throughout the video, but you can see I have this as an event that is counting in my Google Analytics 4 account. You can see 44 count. Most of them are me from doing tutorials and going to this page. So 44 count and then 3 unique. This is usually the number that I use when I'm actually reporting a conversion to clients, because if the same person fills out your contact form 10 times, ultimately it's really just one lead. So what you want to do is set this up as an event in Google Analytics 4 and mark it as a key event. Once you do that, you can import that into your Google Ads account as a conversion. You can see mine right here. It is Aqua Bliss Care GA4 web lead generated, and you can see this conversion source is Google Analytics 4. So let's go over first and foremost how to set up events in Google Analytics 4. So once you install Google Analytics on your website, so I have it installed on this website here, I will create a follow-up video showing you how to install Analytics Tag Manager and Google Search Console. But in this case, we have Google Analytics 4 installed on my website. I installed it using Google Tag Manager. And what we want to do now is we want to make sure that we have our event tracked for every time somebody visits our thank you page. So every time somebody comes to this page, the only reason they would get there is because they filled out our contact form. So the moment they fill out a contact form on any one of my pages, they go directly to this thank you page. You can set up thank you pages for different types of forms on your website. I've had them for newsletter signups. I've had them for leads, and you could basically just have thank you 1, thank you 2, or you could do something like lead generated, newsletter sign up. So regardless of the URL, you could track any URL on your website like this. It doesn't matter if it says pool repair here. You could track that as an event. So over here in Google Analytics, what we want to do is through the admin section, you want to come down and you want to find events under data display. So you'll see it here under property settings too. Data display, events, and this is where we can actually create an event here. So when we click on create event, you can actually see this one that I have here, and it is showing the custom event name is lead generated, and it's just saying event name equals lead generated. This one is set up in Google Tag Manager, so it might be a little confusing looking at that, but this is how to set it up completely in Google Analytics 4 without using Google Tag Manager. So once you have Google Analytics installed, you come to the events page and click on create. And all you really need to do is name your custom event. So you can name your event whatever you want to. So we can come in here and we can say, let's name our event page view thank you. So you could do thank you page view or something like that. So this is our custom event name. And then we have our matching conditions here. We're going to get rid of this event name matching condition, and you'll see the different parameters we have: event name, affiliation, content ID, content type, coupon, creative slot, currency. There's a bunch of different options here. In this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using page location. So page location is going to be looking at the URL of the page that people are on our website. So over here, the page location is https://aquablisscare.com/thank you. So I could actually come in here, copy this and paste this value. And that means page location equals this. And anytime someone comes to my thank you page, that will track. The way that I prefer to track it, just because I feel like it makes it, then I know everything is going to track every time somebody hits that URL, is instead of doing equals, doing contains and just doing thank you, just like this. So this is generally how I set it up, is page view thank you is parameter, page location contains thank you. And that's really all we have to do. So you just have to make sure that your form is automatically going to this page, that this page is created on your website, and then we can easily set up an event that quickly. Come over here, click on create. Okay, so now we have this event created, and with the way Google Analytics 4 works, this is one of the frustrating parts of Google Analytics 4, is your event isn't always going to show up on this list until you start actually getting it to count. So since that's the case, what you can do is actually come over here to key events, and you can say, let's create a new key event. And the way that we named it was page view thank you. So this is how we named our event. So we just want to name this as our new event, click on save. And now that's going to set up that event as a key event. So if we come over here to our events and you go to create event here, you'll see this one here. So this is our custom event name, page view thank you, and this will start counting immediately. As soon as somebody goes to the page view right here, it'll start counting. But Google Analytics 4 is a little bit delayed, and some of the data that's coming in, your events are not going to show right away. So this is basically saying count this as 1 every single time that somebody goes to this thank you page. So we want to count it as 1 in terms of the count, and then a unique user every time there's a unique user going to that page. So then all you do is come over here to key events, and you'll see we have the key event name. So this just needs to match the way you set up that event in the previous step. So now we have this one matched here. So that is all good. What we need to do next is we need to go over to Google Ads, and we need to make sure our Google Analytics 4 profile is linked to our Google Ads account. So the way to do that is through Tools and then through Data Manager. And this is where all of your connected products are. So you can see Google Tag, connected products. There's a bunch of different products you can connect to. So if you're using Salesforce, for example, you can actually connect to your Salesforce account and get all the information you need and have it imported directly into Google Ads. So in this case, we already have our Google Analytics 4 profile linked. If we come over here to Manage and Link, you'll see we have Aqua Bliss Care, GA4, Google Analytics. When you have a Google Analytics profile and it is set up through the same exact email or Google account as your Google Ads account that you're working with, I have a bunch of Google Analytics profiles down here. I can't scroll down because I don't like to give away client names, anything like that. But basically down here underneath, if I scroll down, there's a bunch of different profiles that I can link because I have access to all of them through my email, Corey@surfsideppc.com. All you need to do is click on link and then make sure you import Google Analytics audiences and turn app and web metrics on. That's what I would recommend doing. And then once you have that connected product, then when you go to goals and you go to summary over here. So through the conversion goals page, click on create conversion action and then go to import, and then go to Google Analytics 4 properties and go to web and click on continue. And from here, you can see the analytics event that we just created, page view thank you. We want to select this, import and continue. And now this is going to be a Google Analytics 4 conversion that or key event that we have imported as a conversion into Google Ads. So we just have to make sure we find it here. It's under other. You can see Aqua Bliss Care, GA4 web, page view thank you. You can click here, change to another conversion goal and say, okay, this is a contact. So we'll change this to a contact conversion goal, click on save, and now it'll go into our list of contact conversions. Obviously, I've been creating a lot of different types of conversions here, and surprisingly I am getting conversions from this campaign actually. So yeah, I've gotten a few different conversions from this campaign, even though I haven't really ran it too much, but you can see 4 total leads generated so far. So now over here, if we come to our page view thank you, you just want to configure your conversion and just make sure it's set up properly for like a lead. So if you click on edit, you can see use event defined in Google Analytics 4 property. So yes, that's exactly what we want to do. This is the name of it. You can change the name. I'm just going to leave it as is. The action optimization will be contacts, and we want it to be a primary action that we're actually optimizing for. Click on save. Next is going to be value. So for the value here, I always use the same value, and I set it to either 1, 2, or 3, depending on how valuable that conversion is. When I'm going for lead generation, obviously if it's something where revenue is tied in, you want to tie in the actual revenue. You could also, if you know that every single contact form leads to $40 in revenue for your business, then basically say, okay, let's come in here and let's set the value to $40 or $400 or $1,000 or something along those lines. So platform website, GA4 event is page view thank you, GA4 property name, count. This is where you want to count 1 conversion. If it's me and I've been the one that's on this page over and over again, so this count is me going there over and over again, this is not an accurate number of your unique leads. Unique leads are from unique people. So click through conversion window, 90 days, that's perfect. The engage view conversion window, this stays the same. And then attribution data driven, that's perfect. We'll click on done. So now we are tracking the thank you page as a conversion in our Google Ads account. And all you really need to do to make sure you optimize for it is within your campaigns is to make sure that your campaign is set up to optimize for that conversion goal. So you can see we have ours set. You could either do account default. So every single primary conversion action that you have through your conversion summary page on their goals, or you could do campaign specific. I just did campaign specific just to show an example here. We're optimizing for all of our many phone call leads in addition to all of these different contact leads. And you just want to make sure you have this one that we just set up here as one of the ones we're optimizing for. And then as those leads come in, we're able to optimize for them much better. So that's the first way to do it using Google Analytics 4. Very, very easy to do. Create the event and then just name the key event, mark it as a key event, make sure it's marked as a key event here, and then import it directly into your Google Ads account. Okay, we're going to come back over here, and now it's time to create the other conversion action. We're going to do this instead of creating the event in Google Analytics 4. We're going to be doing this through Google Tag Manager, and then we're just going to import this event one more time as a Google Ads conversion. So we always create the event first in Google Analytics 4. In this case, we're going to be doing it in Google Tag Manager, and then once we have that key event set up in here, then what we can do is just import it directly into our Google Ads account. Very similar to how we did it previously, and I'm just going to show you how I did this with lead generated. So basically we come over here to Google Tag Manager, and when you're creating a new tag, in this case, you're going to create a new Google Analytics 4 event. So you come over here, Google Analytics 4 event, measurement ID, event name, and then we set up a trigger. So the way that I did that here, we're going to discard changes, is we have our Google Analytics 4 event right here, Google Analytics 4 event thank you page. So I have measurement ID. So this is where you enter your Google Analytics 4 measurement ID, set up the correct tag type GA4 event, name your event. So you can see right here, lead generated. This is my event right there. So if I change the name to this, then this will stop working properly. So you want to make sure you keep this event name exactly the same. And then you have to set up a trigger. So the way that I set up a trigger here is, and we're going to click on edit, is when you're choosing a trigger type, they give you an option up here to choose your trigger type. And in this case, you choose page view from the list, and you do when the page URL contains thank you. So that's exactly what you want to do for that trigger type. So if we come over here and let's just discard this. Okay, so to set up this trigger, so basically tag configuration, tag type, GA4 event, measurement ID, lead name or event name, and then we click on the trigger here. So in this case, you want to click on the plus sign up here. You're going to set your trigger configuration is going to be a page view, some page views, when the page URL contains thank you. Now, if you don't see page URL here, then what you need to do really quickly, we're going to discard our changes. What you need to do, we're going to discard our changes again, is come over here to variables and then click on configure and just make sure you have these ones configured here. Make sure you have the form element configured. You should have page URL automatically. And then there's some built-in ones that are already there, but in case you don't see it, that's where to add some of these other variables. So then over here, what we're going to be doing is coming down to the correct tag. We have a lead generated. It is set up. So page view, when the page URL contains thank you, that is set up for two different conversions here. One is our Google Ads conversion I created with Google Tag Manager. Not going to be going over that in the video. This one is the Google Analytics 4 event that we've created. So again, all you need to do once you do that is submit your workspace. So add a name, description, click on publish. Okay, so then we come over here to Google Analytics 4, and what we want to do is we want to go to the events here, and we want to create an event, and you can see this is how I created it. So you give your custom event name. It should match exactly to the name you created in Google Tag Manager. And then what you want to do is say the parameter, the event name, that's exactly what this is passing, event name, the parameter equals the value of our custom event name, lead generated, and basically just click on save, and that is going to make that into an event. If you don't see it here right away, like the way it shows up right here, if you do see it, then mark it as a key event. You could wait until it starts tracking more and then mark it as a key event, or just go over to your key events and just create a new key event called lead generated here, like you can see here, mark it as a key event, and last but not least, I want to take a quick break from my video tutorial to tell you about my two free training videos. My first is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Google Ads training. That will give you a process to be successful with Google Ads. Go to surfsideppc.com/training to get access to that. The other one is going to be my from 0 to 5K per month roadmap. This is going to be an inbound marketing training that's going to teach you how to drive more leads and grow your business. So you go to surfsideinbound.com and you can access that one. Let's get back to our tutorial. Just finish the process of creating that conversion action and importing that conversion directly from your Google Analytics 4 property. The very last thing as I finish off this video is I always ask clients for their Google Analytics 4, and I don't even use it as much as I used to use Google Analytics. A lot of the data in Google Ads is much better. But basically one of the main reasons I do that is because I do have clients I work with where I come in here and they already have all of their key events tracked. So I already see things like phone call, I see things like form, I see all these different things because clearly they worked with an agency or professional before me, or they did this themselves and they already have their conversions all tracked. So sometimes that is the case in Google Analytics 4. So when I go into Google Ads, I can basically just import all of those Google Analytics 4 conversions. I know they're tracking properly. There's also integrations within Google Analytics 4 with certain CRMs, certain systems that can make things a little bit easier for you. So highly recommend looking into some of those depending on the client you're working with and what type of software they may be using to run their website. So this is how to set up events and key events in Google Analytics 4, how to import them into Google Ads as conversions. So went over a lot of things in this video, and hopefully it's helpful as you continue to try to improve your conversion tracking because it's vital to the success of your Google Ads campaign. So thank you for watching my video, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel.